Hi everybody, I'm Rosemary and welcome to my 12 Styles of Christmas series, where I'll be offering some fun and unique ideas in the many styles of Christmas. Everything from farmhouse to boho to glam and pretty much everything in between. But for this first part, I'm going to start not so much with the style, but the reason for the season. For my first DIY, I'm going to use this Dollar Tree sign. I'm going to be using the back of that. And also this printout from my computer. I will supply a link to this in the description box below, as well as some of these square beads from the Dollar Tree that I've put on skewers. I would suggest clipping the tops of those because they are pointy, and just added some beads to those. And then I'm going to paint the beads as well as the back of the sign with this nutmeg colored craft paint. And then once the beads are painted and dry, I am going to go back with some white chalk paint on a dry brush and just give the beads a little distressing with the white chalk paint. While those are drying, I'm going to go ahead and transfer my image. Now I did cut the little pieces out separately so it was easier to arrange on the back of the sign. And then I did scribble on the back of the piece of paper with a pencil. And this is what I'm going to use to transfer the image. But before I do set that where I want it to be, I wanted to just put some of the beads around to make sure that I wasn't transferring the image in the spot where the beads needed to go. So once I had that, I went ahead and just transferred the image by writing on the front piece of the paper, just tracing the front piece of the paper, and you'll see where it does leave an image. It is faint, but you can see it well enough to go back with a white paint marker. And then I'm going to go ahead and trace the image of the baby Jesus in the manger there at the bottom, again making sure that I am leaving space for the beads to go in. And then once the image is transferred, you get to pretend that you are an uber good sketch artist who can just amazingly and quickly put together a baby in a manger. Of course, there's a little image there faintly in the background that I'm following, but nonetheless, we can pretend. And then I will just finish up with the star image. Once all the image transfer is complete, I'm going to go ahead and attach my beads, and I'll just leave them right on the skewers. Just trim the skewers down a little bit to fit the space. I will do the top and the bottom first, and then fill in the sides. And then as a final touch, I just wanted to add a little burlap ribbon from the Dollar Tree, just tied on a little bow there on the hanger. And then I took one of these stems that I got from Walmart for 98 cents and just kind of bent it around and added it there to the corner. And then I just added some white berries as well as a little bit more of the blueberries. It just felt like it needed to be filled in a little bit more. And then here's the finished project. I just love how this came out. I love the beadwork as well as the pretty little floral accent. And then of course, the sentiment of the reason for the season. Okay, on to DIY number 2, and for this one I'm going to again use that nutmeg colored paint and one of these Dollar Tree boxes and then 2 packs of the large paint sticks. And I want to take the nutmeg paint and I'm just diluting it with some water because I just want to create a little stain for both the wood box and the paint sticks. And then once the stain is dry, I'm going to go back with a dry brush of some white chalk paint. And I'm going to do both the paint sticks and the little wood box. Next, I'm going to pull out my miter box and saw and cut down my paint sticks. Now, I want to keep one of the paint sticks whole, and then the others I'm going to cut into a 12-inch piece, a 10-inch piece, an 8-inch piece, a 6-inch piece, a 4-inch piece, and a 2-inch piece on top. On the cut sticks, I'm going to be writing "Joy to the world, the Lord has come." Now, in order to do that, I'm going to just do it freehand, but I do want to create a little 1-inch sections that I'm measuring out with my ruler so that this way I can keep my letters contained within that 1-inch spot, and it just makes it easier to do this by hand. And then once all my letters are complete, I'm going to go back with that top piece and just draw a little star on the top and then fill that in with some gold paint. Then I'm going to use some wood glue to attach my cut sticks to the center pole. To dress things up a little, I'm going to add some greenery to each end of the cut pieces. Next, I'm going to take the drawer from my box and then just take a piece of foam that I cut down to size and just place it right there into the drawer. Then I placed the drawer back into the box and took the bottom end of my center stick and inserted it into the foam through the hole in the top of the box. And then just added some more greens there along the bottom to cover the hole. And then here is the finished project. It stands nice and tall at about 2 feet high, and it proclaims the good news and promise of Christmas. My next DIY was inspired from this beautiful Holy Family nativity that I saw from Redwood Crafts in New Zealand. I just thought it was so beautiful, and I wanted to see if I could recreate it using Dollar Tree and household items. To start, I took 2 of the small Dollar Tree gold Christmas balls. These are the ones that come in that long tube, and then I just removed the ornament hanger from the top. Then I took a pipe cleaner, folded it in half, and then cut it in half. Then I'm going to take one piece and fold that in half again, give it a little twist, and insert it into the bottom of my Christmas ball. And I'm going to do that for both of the pieces. Next, I wanted to make my Christmas balls look like large wood beads. So I took my go-to paint, color, and paint, which is the Waverly in the color Cashew, and painted the balls and then set them aside to dry. Next, I took 2 paper towel rolls and I measured 1 to 6 inches and 1 to 7 inches and then just cut them there. For Joseph's robe, I'm going to use this Dollar Tree placemat, and I just cut off all the edges all the way around because I actually just want the top piece of that placemat. But I am going to hold on to those clippings because I am going to use a little piece a little later on. Now, in addition to the top piece of that placemat, I went ahead and cut a 6 by 7 inch and a 6 by 12 inch piece of an old sheet that I had. Next, I took some Mod Podge and just dabbed it around the edges of the cut sheet to stop any fraying that might occur. While the Mod Podge was drying, I took some floral foam and just made a little indent there at the top to give me a guide as to what I had to cut out for the paper towel roll. Then I took the foam and carefully inserted it into the paper towel holder. Now you want to kind of do this slowly and just kind of break off pieces as you go that might, kind of still be in the way as the cardboard kind of cuts through the foam. And you also want to make certain that the cardboard isn't folding in on itself, so kind of make sure that stays straight as well. And then once my foam is inside the paper towel roll, I'm going to take my 6 by 7 inch piece of sheet and just wrap the paper towel roll with the sheet and hot glue it in place. Next, I'm going to take one of these coasters that I happen to have on hand, but you can just use a cardboard round. That would work just as fine. And then I'm going to just hot glue the bottom of my paper towel roll and attach it to the coaster. Then I'm going to take 2 popsicle sticks and cut off about 3/4 of an inch on each end of the popsicle stick. And I do want to hold on to those cut pieces because I will be using those a little bit later. And then I'm going to take the cut sticks and hot glue one towards the back and one towards the front of my paper towel roll. Next, I'm going to take another pipe cleaner and I'm going to hot glue to the ends of each side one of those cut pieces from the popsicle sticks. Then I'll just take the pipe cleaner and wrap it around the paper towel holder, hot gluing it in place, making sure that I also attach it to the popsicle sticks. And then once the arms are attached, I'm going to insert the head there right between the two popsicle sticks. And now I'm going to make the robe, and I'm going to use again that placemat that I had cut the bottom piece off of, and that does measure 11 by 18 inches. And I'm going to fold it once in half and then in half again. And then I want to take my folded piece of material and just measure in 3 inches from the right hand side. I'll do that both at the top and at the bottom. And then I'm going to measure 6 inches from the bottom. And so I'm going to draw a line there, 3 inches in at 6 inches high. And then again, another line down there that is 3 inches in from the side. And then I'm going to cut that piece out. And then there in the top middle, I'm going to just cut out a little U shape for the head. And since this is going to be more of a robe than a tunic, I am going to cut up the middle of the front piece. And then I want to create some hems, so I'm going to just flip it over to the back side and just using some hot glue, go along the edges of the cross shape pattern here. So just on the 4 edges there, I'm going to go across with some hot glue and fold the hem in. And then once the 4 edges are glued, I just went back to the front center and folded that in on a little bit of an angle and then hot glued that in place. And then once all of my hems were complete, I just took my robe and folded it in half again, just lining up all the seams and then just attached them with some hot glue. And then once all of my seams were attached, I just took the robe and turned it back right side out. And then I just took my robe and dressed my little paper towel figure, and it reminded me of making Barbie clothes. I used to make Barbie clothes and furniture all the time because it was so ridiculously expensive. You can get a whole new doll for the price of like one outfit. So I would always make them out of tissue paper and all kinds of things. But let me know in the comments below if you used to also make Barbie doll furniture and clothes and just have a lot of fun with that when you were a kid. To hold the robe in place, I'm going to be adding little dabs of hot glue in various different spots. So for example, right there up at the top, I do want the robe to close a little bit there. So I just put a little dab of hot glue on the paper towel roll, and then I'm going to add the top flap, add a little bit of hot glue there to hold the 2 pieces together at the top. Now for the headpiece, I do want the top of the head to have a little bit of a lift where I'm going to add the wrap on the top. So I'm going to just take a cotton ball and I cut it in half, and then I just hot glue that to the top. Now I'm going to take that 6 by 12 inch piece of sheet. Now you can see where it was frayed, so I did do that Mod Podge there on the ends, and now I'm going to just cut those frayed pieces off, and because the Mod Podge is there, it'll keep those other pieces from fraying. Then I'm just going to take my piece of material and I'm going to lay it over the top of Joseph's head, and I'm going to do it a little bit off center so it is a little bit longer on the left hand side. Then I'm going to take some hot glue and I'm going to put it just below the hairline there and then along the sides of the face. And then I'll take the material and I'll just press it down into the hot glue on the top and then kind of fold it over on each side and then attach it there to the side of the face. Then I'm going to attach the bottom right side of the head wrap with some hot glue there to the robe, and then I'll take the other piece on the left hand side and just wrap that around Joseph's head and drape it over nicely and then just secure it in place with some hot glue. Then I'll take one of those strips that I saved from the placemat when I cut it down, and I'm going to just take that and wrap that around the top of the headpiece and glue it in place. And now, of course, we must give Joseph a staff, so I'm going to take one of these Dollar Tree dowels and just cut about an inch or two off the top, and then just hot glue it there to Joseph's hand. For Mary, I repeated the same process, just using a 6-inch long paper towel roll, but pretty much everything else is the same. For the head wrap, I'll again be using a 6-inch by 12-inch piece of the sheet. And then for the robe, I'm going to use this material flat from Walmart that I got for $1.47, and I'll cut that into a 10-inch by 18-inch rectangle, and then fold it the same way I did the robe previously. And then I'll make the same cut, this time only going up 5 inches instead of the 6, but still going in 3 inches off the side. And then I will cut out the little head area, and then do all of the hems as I did before, including that angular hem there at the front of the robe. And then once all that is complete, I will go back and add some hot glue to the seams, again just folding it over and gluing those seams into place. I'll again just turn the robe back to the right side out, and then just proceed to dress Mary in the robe. And then again, to add a little lift, I'm going to take that other piece of the cotton ball, kind of spread it out a little bit more. I don't want it to have as much of a puff on the top. And then I'm again going to add some hot glue right below the cotton ball, as well as along the sides of the face, and then just attach the head wrap by pressing it into the glue. And then I'll take the right side and pull it down towards the robe and just add a little hot glue to attach it there, and then drape and wrap around to the back, where I will also add some more hot glue. And then here are the completed Mary and Joseph, but now it's time to make the baby Jesus. To make the baby, I'm going to use a wood skewer and a cotton ball that I've pulled out a little lengthwise, and I'm going to just put the skewer into the cotton ball, kind of wrapping it around. Then I'll go ahead and cut off the excess, and then add a little hot glue to the top there, and then add a wood bead to the skewer. And then once that glue has set, I'll cut off the excess skewer at the top. For the blanket, I'll be using a 4-inch by 4-inch piece of the sheet. And all I'm going to do is kind of put it in a diamond shape and fold down that top corner. Then I'll take some hot glue, add that to the top of the head, and then do some more hot glue along the sides of the face, and just bring that blanket to wrap around the top of the head. Next, I'm going to take that bottom corner of the blanket and fold it up into the body, adding a little hot glue there on top. And then I will take the right hand side, wrap it around the body of the baby and kind of tuck it under, and then wrap the left hand corner again all the way around, securing it with some hot glue to the back. And then the baby is ready to be attached to Mary's hands and arms. And then here is the finished project. I'm just loving how this Holy Family came out. It's not exactly like the original, but I think it's still pretty cute. And here you can see the comparison between the two. Let me know in the comments what you think. Well, I hope you have enjoyed part 1 of this 12 Styles of Christmas series. If you enjoyed the video and would like to check out some more great DIYs, you can click on one of these videos here. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you next time.